The mayor and commission are required to disclose contacts with proponents or opponents on any items on the planning and zoning agenda. I will ask if any member of the commission wish to disclose any contact with proponents or opponents on any item on the agenda.
If I might, I will just call each commissioner's name, and if you have any disclosures to make, opponents or proponents, just let me know. And I will start as we sat at the podium with my far left. Commissioner Townsend, any disclosures?
Mayor, I have no disclosures. Thank you.
Commissioner Markley.
None, thanks.
Commissioner Walters. None. Commissioner Kane.
None.
Commissioner Burrows.
None, Mayor. Thank you.
Commissioner Bynum.
None.
Commissioner McKiernan.
None.
Commissioner Johnson.
None.
Commissioner Ramirez.
None.
Commissioner Philbrook.
None.
Thank you all.
I will now read the items on the consent agenda. Change of use application, permit application, item number 1, SP 2019-103, Evan Dolby, special use permit for a tire distribution center at 3140 South 28th Street, recommended for approval. Item 2, SP 2019-104, Ryan Denley with Comfort Engineering LLC, special use permit for a storage container for an office building at 3317 Strong Avenue, recommended for approval for 2 years. Item 3, SP 2019-107, Tom Irish with 4101 Pal Inc., special use permit for an earthen fill at 5831, 5737, 5831R, 5841, 5700, 5832, and 5848 South 100 North Street, and 1205 North 59th Street, recommended for approval for 4 years. Item 4, SP 2020-5, Advanced Stores Company, Inc., special use permit for a parking lot at 21 South 18th Street, recommended for approval for 2 years. Item 5, SP 2020-16, Riley Miller, home occupational special use permit for a short-term rental Airbnb at 939 Orville Avenue, recommended for approval for 2 years. Item 6, SP 2020-18, Angela M. Turner with Simmons Security and Protection Service, Inc., renewal of a special use permit for an office space and private security guard company at 428 North 5th Street, recommended for approval for 2 years. Item 7, SP 2020-21, Brittany Jones with RU Hearts Ministries, special use permit for a group home girls home for 5 to 7 girls aged 13 to 17 at 2912 North 47th Terrace, recommended for approval for 2 years. Item 8, SP 2020-22, Dolores Dupree, special use permit for a short-term rental Airbnb at 2621 South 27th Street, recommended for approval for 2 years. Plan review application, we have one item. That item is PR 2020-4, Carter Mann with McDonald's USA, LLC. Preliminary and final plan review for donation and construction of a McDonald's restaurant at 605 South 7th Street Traffic Ray, recommended for approval. Those are all items on the consent agenda.
Thank you. Does any member of the commission, county administrator, or anyone in attendance tonight wish to set aside any item on the planning and zoning consent agenda? If an item is not set aside, all items on the planning and zoning consent agenda will be voted on by one vote to follow the recommendation of the Planning Commission. I would ask the Commission to withhold offering a motion for approval of this until we are able to gain by phone or by those present if there are any set-asides.
Mayor, this is Commissioner Gail Townsend. I would like to have SP 2020-21, applicant Ms. Brittany Jones, set aside for further discussion.
Thank you.
Ma'am, did you have an item you'd like to set aside? If you want to have a question about it, then we have to set it aside to talk about it. Otherwise, it'll just be approved and be done. No, you can do it right now. Just tell us what item you'd like to set aside.
It's SP 2020-22.
That's
That's
item A8.
SP-2020-22, Dolores Dupree? Okay. Yeah, you can sit down. Thank you. Mayor, I do
And
not
that-
see anyone else stepping forward from the crowd.
Move for approval
Okay.
for all remaining items.
Second.
And we need to identify ourselves. So Commissioner Kane, that was your motion, correct?
Yes, Commissioner Kane made that motion. I apologize.
Yeah.
Commissioner
And-
McKiernan with the second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Kane.
Aye.
Markley.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Philbrook.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Townsend.
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Ramirez.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
The vote is 10-0. That motion carries.
Thank you. That takes us to set aside item SP-2020-21, Brittany Jones with Aruka Hearts Ministries. I'd ask the staff to make some opening remarks.
This is Rob Richardson, Director of Planning. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The application comes to you recommended unanimously for approval by the Planning Commission. This is to operate a group home for, I believe, 5 to 7 young ladies, ages 13 to 17, at 2912 North 47th Terrace. I don't know. Is Ms. Jones in the audience? Yes, she is. The applicant's coming to the microphone.
Thank you.
If you'd like to give your name and address for the record, and then you can go ahead and present your project, ma'am.
My name is Brittany Jones. My address is 2912 North 47th Street, Kansas City, Kansas, 66104.
And ma'am, if you would raise the microphone up just a little bit, thank you.
So my project is a group home for kids who are in foster care without permanent placement. It's going to be long-term placement. So I want to take in kids who have been moving from house to house, who haven't had permanent placement in a while, so that they can be able to receive education, also mental health services. I can teach them life skills, such as cooking, budgeting, financing. Also, once they become stable, they are able to get the education they need so that they can, complete high school. Sorry, a little nervous. Also, teach them social emotional skills, invite members into the community to mentor them. So my long-term goal is to provide the adolescents with fundamental life skills they need to be productive and contributing members of society, help them develop a sense of identity and discover their personal strengths, become a mentor to youth who have similar life experiences.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Please have a seat. I will now open the public hearing, ask if there's anyone present who would like to speak in favor of ACE SP 2020-21. If so, please step to the podium at this time. Give us your name and address for the record. Is there anyone present who wants to speak in favor of?
Remember, I do not see anyone stepping forward, Mayor.
Thank you. Is there anyone else present? I'd ask the clerk if she received any notification from the public who wished to express their opinion in favor of this item. Was there anything?
No such records exist.
Thank you. Is there anyone present in opposition who would like to speak on this item? If so, now is your time to come to the podium, state your comments, and you have 3 minutes.
No one is stepping forward, Mayor.
So was a question concerning this?
Yes. I believe Commissioner Townsend set this aside.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
Commissioner Townsend. Madam Clerk, have you received any notification of opposition from the public?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. If there are no further comments or questions, we'll close the public hearing. And would the petitioner like to make any closing comments? I think really just moving on to Commissioner Townsend. If the petitioner has anything else she'd like to add.
I believe she does.
Oh, okay. So I got this idea because I am a social worker and I've had experience working in social welfare. And some of the statistics around girls being in foster care and their ability to become, I guess, productive adults and not continue to have setbacks was kind of alarming to me. So this is very near and dear to me. Also have personal experience with youth in foster care and seeing how it has changed their behavior and also their mental health. So that's kind of why I want to do this.
Thank you. Do any members of the commission have any questions or comments? Commissioner Townsend?
Mayor, this is Commissioner Gail Townsend. I do have some follow-up questions for Ms. Jones, and it might be easier if she returns to the podium so she's readily available at the mic to answer the questions. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Great. Okay, Ms. Jones, I want to say that I really appreciate the void in the group that you're dealing with, the 13 to 17-year-old young ladies who, through no fault of their own, are having to seek some type of home environment and other types of needs outside of the home that they were born to. So I really appreciate you coming forward with that special petition request. And I want to let you know I am viewing these proceedings from UGTV, so don't be nervous. And one day when we can all shake hands again, I look forward to doing that with you. I saw in the executive summary that you are a master social worker.
That's correct.
And also that you have at one time been a foster parent. So here's my first question. Are you currently still a foster parent?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and I understand the over 5 persons, that's why you're applying for this special permit to exceed the 5 limit.
That's correct.
Now, if this application is approved for the group home, do you still intend to remain as a foster parent?
I want to focus on the group home. I still will keep up my certification, my license to be a foster parent, but with the group home, I think I can accomplish more as far as receiving funding. So there's not many resources that's available to foster parents. One with the ideas that I want to be able to have, like put the kids in recreational activities or take them overseas to see other, things beyond just their neighborhood or what's familiar to them. So that's why I want to register as a nonprofit so that I can have donations from the community so that I can be able to take them and see things beyond just what they know. But I do plan to be a foster parent.
Okay. So you would have other kids as a foster parent beside the ones that would be in the group home if this is approved?
No, there won't be any additional kids, just the kids that are in the group home.
Okay. All right. So now the property that's in question, is that property that you own or is it a rental property? What is the situation with that?
I own that property.
Okay. And as I said, I noted that you're a licensed social worker, and in your prospectus, it's your intention to have 2 staff members on the premises, one a live-in house parent and a second support service provider. Will either of those individuals also have some type of social work license, or what's your intention with the type of persons that you would have in those capacities in the home?
Well, I would be the live-in parent, and I would invite someone else who is also familiar with either child welfare, human services, or either a social worker.
Okay. And if this is approved, you say this is your property, how many bedrooms does this, would the house accommodate? It's got 4? Okay.
It's 4 bedrooms.
And what would be the source of funding to support the young ladies who would be there with you and the programs that you set out?
Initially, I would use my own funding, but the state provides like a allowance for each kid that comes into a home.
Okay. I think I saw, correct me if I'm wrong, that the curfew for these young ladies to be in the house is 8:30?
That's correct.
Okay. And would you... visitation. I noted that visitors would have family members and friends of the young ladies in the home would come on Saturday. So Saturday is the only day for family and friends, personal family and friends visit for these young ladies?
Yes.
Okay, and then later down I saw where it said all visitors who come into the home would have to have a background check. Would that include family members and friends of the residents?
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to ensure everybody is safe in the home.
I think that's very wise. Thank you. Services provides. Those were the only questions that I had, so I appreciate your responses. I would say that we had, one more. This is a very unique time, and if this is passed, considering the orders that we're under and all of that, what would be your time going forward to bring the residents into the home?
Well, I don't know. I didn't really think about it that way, but I'm still getting requests for the foster children to get in home, but I would ensure that everybody gets a health check before they are allowed into the home. But
okay.
As far as time, I really don't know.
Okay. That just came to mind because obviously a group home like this could present some unique challenges based on what we're going through now. So I'm glad to hear that you have given some thought to this, and if this is approved, I would encourage you to seek further guidance from our health department members. So I do have one concern. I've looked at the comments from those people in the neighborhood who had questions about it. And since this is a fledgling program for you, I would really like to see this done as a 1-year thing initially instead of the 2 years. We, like I said, are in a unique time and health-wise, and I think it would give you some time to really hone in on what resources could become available to you. And so I have a question for council, or Mr. Richardson, either one. Since this was approved for 2 years, if I wanted to make a motion for 1 year, what would have to be done in terms of bringing forward the other motion or what? So I'm asking for guidance on that, either Mr. Richardson and or council.
Well, Commissioner, this is Ken Moore. You can make a motion for approval for 1 year, but since that varies from the Planning Commission recommendation, it would require eight votes to pass that.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question for, if I could. This is Mayor Alvey for Mrs. Jones. Ms. Jones, if we would go to a 1-year permit rather than 2, how would that affect your planning?
Well, since everything is unpredictable right now and we don't know, it might create a little bit of a challenge for me, just trying to get settled and then have to renew the permit again. But I mean, I'll work around whatever is decided.
And that, this Mayor Alvey, my concern is, I think 2 years is probably just enough time for you to plan and to prepare all this. I would be reluctant to go to a 1 year. I think 2 years would actually be more respectful of the request and what you're trying to accomplish. That's simply my opinion on this.
Mayor Alvey, Commissioner Mike Kane.
Yes, sir.
I agree with you. It's hard enough to, she'd just get her feet under her in a year and then have to turn around and go through the same process again. And I think 2 years is more than reasonable.
I respect the position of both the mayor and Commissioner Kane. What I did have in mind also was the fact that probably a year ago, or maybe a little bit over, we did a 1 year initially on a group home that was right off about 61st, 62nd, and Leavenworth Road. And they seemed to do okay, even though it was a 1 year. And again, have some concerns about just the health circumstances we're under right now. So, like I said, I applaud Ms. Jones for what she's trying to do, but for the circumstances we find ourselves in now, I would just like to see the 1 year. That would give her some time to get her program together. She's already had experience as a foster parent, but this is a different ball game. So my motion would be that we approve this for 1 year and have Ms. Jones come back. I wish her all success, but under the current circumstances, that is my reticence with the 2 years.
Is there any other commissioners have questions or comments? Hearing none. Go right ahead.
This is Christian Ramirez, Commissioner Ramirez. This question is more for Mr. Moore. because one of the concerns that Commissioner Townsend has brought up is the health concern, especially with the pandemic going on. Is there any way with whatever motion we make, that we add the stipulation that she works with our health department to ensure that any and all policy and procedures she implements help keep the health and safety of the girls?
Well, that could be an additional stipulation. But right now, I guess we have a motion on the floor.
This is Commissioner Bynum. I would second the motion on the floor.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Roll call, Kane.
Commissioner Kane, no.
Markley.
Sorry, aye.
Did you say aye, ma'am?
I did.
Walters.
Aye.
You just say aye?
Yes, I did.
Philbrook.
No.
Bynum.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Townsend.
Aye.
McKiernan.
No.
Ramirez.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
The vote is 6-4. That motion carries. No, we need 8 votes in order for it to pass. So the motion, 7-3. The motion fails.
This is Commissioner Bynum. I would move approval for the 2-year permit with an added stipulation that Ms. Jones work with our health department to secure a plan for the health and safety of her young ladies that live in her home.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Mayor Albee. I'm sorry, this is Mayor Albee. I have a question for Ken. Ken, I understand these are already regulated by the state in terms of their health and welfare. Is that not correct? And really by the city as well?
I believe that's my understanding.
Mr. Mayor, this is Rob Richardson.
Yes, Rob.
There is state regulation there. I don't know if there's city regulation on the actual operation of the group home other than the issuance of the special use permit. After that, it goes to the state for all of the inspections and approvals.
Okay, that was just for clarification. Thank you. So we have a motion and a second to approve as brought forward by the Planning and Zoning. Could we repeat who the motion and the second was from?
The motion is from Commissioner Bynum.
Second with Commissioner Ramirez.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Commissioner Burrows, no, Mayor, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Could you
I'm sorry.
please again restate the motion?
Mayor, I would be happy to.
Sure.
I believe the motion by Commissioner Bynum was to approve the item as it was submitted by the Planning Commission, with the addition to having the applicant work with our local health department to make sure the safety and welfare of the individuals residing there was taken care of or looked out for.
All right. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Kane.
Aye.
Markley.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Philbrook.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Townsend.
No.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Ramirez.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
The The vote is 9-1. That motion carries.
Thank you. That takes us to the next set aside, SP 2020-22. Dolores Dupree, special use permit for a short-term rental, Airbnb, at 2621 South 27th Street. Mr. Richardson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is Rob Richardson, Director of Planning. This application comes to you recommended unanimously for approval for an Airbnb for 2 years. I believe the applicant is going to request that you modify that to start that 2-year time period at some point during the summer, since rental business isn't very good right now for the short-term rental business.
Okay.
Thank you. I'd ask the applicant to come forward to present the application. Please state your name and address for the record.
Dolores Dupree, 2625 South 27th Street. Thank you all for approving me. I don't want to mess up my approval. I just got that question about could we start it a little bit later in the summertime maybe, because I just don't think people are traveling now.
Very good.
This is Commissioner Markley. This is Commissioner Markley. Would it be, I don't know if it's easier or more official one way or the other, but would it be easier to just give her an extension of however many months on the term that's already been proposed?
This is Rob Richardson, Director of Planning again. The code says that for special use permits such as this, the maximum is a 2-year initial time period. So we would need to start the 2-year clock at some point in the future to do that, I believe.
Gotcha, thanks.
Commissioner Burrows, so do we need a date certain that the top three would like to have the date start? Then we can mark a 2-year term from then?
That's correct. And I would note that that change would require 8 votes.
Can I ask something?
So my question is, Commissioner Burrows, the question I would have, Mr. Dupree, would you be willing to set a date, identify a date from which you would like the 2 years to start?
I believe he asked you if you have a date that you would like to start. June 1st, July 1st, something like that?
Yeah, June 1st is great.
Okay.
I'm hoping all this is over with by then. But I won't have to come back, will I? Start this all over again? Okay, thank you.
Do you understand? This is Mayor Alvey. I want you to understand that if we do make that change, it will require 8 votes to pass.
She's aware we talked about it before the meeting, Mayor. This is Rob again.
Thank you, Rob. All right. All right. I'll now open the public hearing, ask if there's anyone present who would like to speak in favor of SP 2020-22. If so, please step to the podium at this time. Give us your name and address for the record.
Mayor, I don't see anyone stepping forward.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, have we received any notification from the public, from anyone who wished to express their support of this item?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Is there anyone present in opposition who would like to speak on this item? If so, now is your time to come to the podium and state your comments.
No one is stepping forward, Mayor.
Okay. Madam Clerk, have you received any notification of opposition from the public?
No, Mr. Mayor.
If there are no further comments, are there any questions from the public?
No one is stepping forward. Mayor, it was Ms. Dupree who set this item aside.
Thank you so much. And I will now close the public hearing.
Move for approval with the adjusted date of June 1st. Commissioner Mike Kane.
Tom Burrows, second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions from the commission? All right, hearing none. All right, we'll take a vote. Roll call, please.
Roll call. Kane.
Aye.
Markley.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Philbrook.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Burrows,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
McKiernan,
Aye.
Ramirez,
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
The vote is 10-0. That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, do I get a piece of paper that says I have a license for that, or?
You will need to get your business license from, pay your occupational license tax at Business Licensing. You can do that online, and you will get a copy of our approval letter in the mail. It's not a formal license, but you'll get that in the mail. And if you call our office, we can help you through the business license process as well.
Okay, I have a rental license.
Yeah. Do you have a business?
But this is a different license?
Yes.
Okay. Is the phone number on this paper?
Yes. Just call the number on your notice, and we'll help you with that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all.
Rob, this is Commissioner Burrows. Question in reference to that. She will not be able to market the Airbnb until June 1st, 2020, correct?
Commissioner Burrows, Rob Richardson, she could market that, but she wouldn't be able to take reservations until June 1st. So it could be on the
Thank you,
Airbnb
sir.
site, but no reservations until June 1st.
Thank you for that clarification, Rob.
That concludes the planning and zoning portion of tonight's meeting. We'll now move to the regular portion of our agenda, a regular consent agenda. Does any member of the commission or county administrator wish to set aside any item on the regular consent agenda? If an item is not set aside, all items on the regular consent agenda will be voted on by one vote. I will entertain a motion for approval of the regular consent agenda.
And a move for,
Buckley. Move to approve.
We have a motion from Commissioner Markley.
Second.
Do you have a second?
Commissioner Ramirez.
And a second by Commissioner Ramirez. All right, there's a motion, second. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Kane,
Aye.
Markley,
Aye.
Walters,
Aye.
Philbrook,
aye.
Bynum,
Aye.
Burrows,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
McKiernan,
Aye.
Ramirez,
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
The vote is 10-0. That motion carries.
Thank you. Now we go to our public hearing agenda. We have a public hearing to consider a development agreement and establishing the downtown campus redevelopment district. I ask Catherine Carter to please present this item.
Thank you, Mayor. We're excited to have this item come forward this evening, and I'll recognize Catherine as she pulls up her presentation.
Good evening. Catherine Carter. I'm with Economic Development. I'm going to go through a brief presentation very similar to the presentation given at EDNF on February 10th. If people are interested and want to see the longer version, I think that is on YouTube. It was a good long, a lot of good questions. So I'm going to just go through a few things, and then Willie Lanier Jr., the developer, is here. I will ask him to say a few words at the end, as well as be here to answer questions. All right. Just some quick project history. This has been a project that has been in the works for about 2 years, trying to get this to a situation where it would work and really bring everything that we want to see at this location, as well as really hit the community goals and bring the assets that we are striving for at this area in downtown. Willie Lanier Jr., who is with Lanier United, who is the developer, has significant development experience and really is looking for areas where he can be an early risk taker and really become a member of the community. He has kind of zeroed in on KCK a couple years ago and has been looking for a project in this area and has assembled quite the development team, and so we are excited to move forward with him. This is just a quick few pictures of a recent past project that Linear United completed in Richmond, Virginia. This really just shows you the type of quality in terms of the amenities and quality in terms of the appliances and things like that at his properties. So as I mentioned, this has been kind of a long time coming. A number of different sites were considered, rehab versus new construction, et cetera. And really, we're really focused on the Reardon Center site, the proximity to the new grocery store, the kind of prominent location right at the entrance of downtown, as well as the real need and desire for KCK to have a real state-of-the-art meeting space downtown were all things that were considered. So I'm going to go through just some of the project components, and then, of course, if you all have questions, we can go in more in depth at the end. But really, overall, this is a $23 million project. It would require the complete demolition of the current Reardon Center. In its place, it's actually quite a large site. But in its place would be a 4-story mixed-use apartment complex. These would be market rate units, about 75 to 85 units. Additionally, there'd be all the amenities that you would expect to see in a market rate apartment nowadays. Additionally, a fitness center, as many people know, we have been without a fitness center downtown for a number of years. So having a fitness center that would be open to the public for memberships would be a welcome addition to our downtown. This would be operated by Will Shields 68 Inside Sports. They have a current location in Lenexa, so this would be their second location. This location would also include athletic fields at 6th and Nebraska, and these would be at fields that would be connected to the fitness center and used for youth and adult training. And finally, the retail complex. This would be about 12,000 square feet right there on the corner of 5th and Minnesota. And the likelihood is it will be kind of a grab-and-go food establishment. But we did add, to address Commissioner Townsend's point, at Economic Development and Finance Committee, we have added dollar stores to the list of prohibited uses. Additionally, on this site will be a new Reardon Center, really looking at this as a kind of physical redevelopment and reprogramming of the current site to provide a Class A multi-purpose banquet and meeting facility. It'd be just under 11,000 square feet, so just a bit smaller than the current Reardon Center, but would have the capacity to seat 350 to 400 people at tables, or over 600 people at a theater-style seating for larger community events. The size was determined actually from a study that was done to really see where is the need for the community, for downtown, where is there a market, and how can we kind of right-size the Reardon Center to a point where it is not only the right size for the market, but also a size that would allow us to make sure that it is state-of-the-art and really providing the community asset that people want. Additionally, the UG will retain a certain number of days to also use the Reardon Center as well as the athletic fields. So just as I will remind everyone, in case you're not familiar with what the Reardon Center currently looks like, this is kind of our gateway into downtown. And what Linear United is suggesting is a bit more like this. So as you can see here, it would be split into two different sites. I don't know if you can see my mouse here, but the larger building, this would be the apartments. Then down here, you've got a 2-story fitness center and then retail here on the corner. Then this really lovely pedestrian walkway that would actually connect the federal courthouse to Minnesota, so really directly to the front door of our grocery store. This would really, in effect, open up the all the people who go to the federal courthouse, jurors, attorneys, other folks who work there day to day. It's really hundreds of people every day that are in that building trying to get them to come into the rest of downtown and into the rest of KCK. And then on the other side here, connected to the parking garage and right proximate to the Hilton Garden Inn, would be the state-of-the-art new Reardon Center meeting space. Here's from a different vantage point. So this would be looking from the front of the courthouse towards the grocery store. So you can see just kind of a sense of what the green space would add, what opening that up for pedestrians, kind of how that would change the whole look and feel of that corridor. From above, so kind of try to point this out here. Hopefully you can see my mouse here on the screen, but this is 5th Street and Minnesota. So our grocery store is going right here. Here is the Reardon Center and where the new apartments as well as the new meeting space would be located. And then just downstate, about a half a block, is where the new athletic fields would be. So some of these arrows here are really meant to just show kind of how this would activate these corridors. Currently, we have very little foot traffic, not too much traffic in terms of people who are out wanting to go grab lunch when they've got a break at the courthouse. This would really open that up and I think provide a lot more business and increase the density here downtown. So in terms of the deal structure, as I mentioned, this is a $23 million public-private partnership. It's a complex deal, so bear with me here. There are a number of different layers that I'll discuss. The first is a community improvement district. This is a community improvement district that is already in place. It was put in place in 2013. So really all we would be doing is allowing the developer to utilize some of these funds that are being collected for the new meeting space. The tax increment financing, so they're part of what we are talking about today, in addition to kind of the entire deal structure and the development agreement, is also the creation of a TIF district. So this district would include not only the area, the site of the current Reardon Center, but also the athletic fields. And this would be start out at 100 years, or 100%, not 100 years, 100% for 13 years, and then would decrease annually by 10%. So on average, we're looking at about a 82% tax break. That basically with a TIF, all the money goes back into the site costs and all those extraordinary costs that you have when building something in a downtown. Additionally is transient guest tax. This is the additional fee that is paid when people stay at a hotel. So we're looking solely at the transient guest tax that is paid at the Hilton Garden Inn, right there next door to where this new development would be going. And so some of that additional sales tax would also be put back into this meeting space to really make this a great asset, not only for the community, but also for the Hilton Garden Inn. I would like to also mention that all three of these, the transient guest tax, the TIF, and the CID, are all pay-as-you-go. There are no bonds that will be issued, and there are caps in place. So once we're hoping that this is a wildly successful project, and once certain caps are hit, even if it is more than or not as long as we had planned, then we would start, the unified government would start receiving those funds. A couple other things. We are working with the developer to apply for a Section 108 loan via HUD. This is a complex project, as anything with our federal government seems to be, but we are working through some things and still hope that this is the planned path that we will take. Additionally, we will be doing a ground lease. So while we will be transferring the property that the apartments are located on, we'd be doing a ground lease, and the unified government would retain ownership of the land for where the Reardon Center is located. This would be a 50-year lease. The benefit here is that the UG would still retain access to the meeting space for 10 events a year. The athletic fields would only be a 10-year lease. We kind of see that more as an intermediate use. So we think that's a very good use, and it could be really helpful for youth and for adult training. But like to see kind of where we are in 10 years and kind of reevaluate.
Commissioner
their
Mike
fitness.
Kane, I have a question.
Yes.
On the Section 8108, will there be will that be federal money? And will this make that a prevailing wage job?
It would. If there's $1 federal money, then yes, it would make this a prevailing wage.
The whole project?
Yes, anything. I mean, there's a possibility. One of the things we are looking at now is whether we would just use the loan for just the meeting center or just the apartments. So that is still to be determined. But for any dollar that goes into this project, it would make the project prevailing wage.
Could you please repeat that again?
If $1 goes into this project that's from federal money, from HUD, it would make it prevailing wage.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next slide, we have, just want to point out the wide range of support from the business community and from the neighborhood. There are actually quite a number of groups that have already talked about how they would like to have their different association meetings at the new Reardon Center and really see this as a location where the community can really kind of come together and really be seen as a community asset. So I'm just going to go through a couple areas where I see this as kind of having community benefit. One, we are currently, we have quite a lot of money that in terms of deferred maintenance, ongoing and deferred maintenance, as well as necessary renovations that would be going into the Reardon Center moving forward. So this would be getting those off the books moving forward, as we would no longer be owning the building and not be on the hook for that. Additionally, there is a significant amount, about almost just under $10 million in revenue over a 20-year period that would be coming directly back to the unified government through sales tax, through different property tax, getting that base, as well as once the TIF period is over, then we're looking at about $200,000 in annual property tax. Just a few other things. We really see this project as something that would stimulate the economy, really supports the previous investment that we have made downtown with the grocery store. So this is one of those things by bringing additional people downtown. That is one of the goals, is to continue bringing density and disposable income downtown so that we can, more than ever, really support the small businesses and restaurants and things like that are downtown. And then also, of course, increasing the meeting and convention and hotel and visitor traffic. This is an area that has seen lots of traffic over the years. It's kind of waned a little bit. We think that bringing this up to kind of its full potential and really making this a state-of-the-art location for meetings, that this will bring additional visitors. And then finally, bringing a fitness center back to downtown and having an operator such as Will Shields and his 68 Inside Sports, and he has stated his goal to kind of go beyond just fitness and work with the youth in our community and really kind of make this a much more holistic development. And with that, I will ask the developer of this project, Willie Lanier. He's present. I'll ask him to say a few words and then remain at the podium for any questions.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out this evening. Once again, my name is Willie Lanier Jr., the developer of the said project. I've been working on this project for quite some time now with a lot of heart and passion to create something special in the downtown KCK community. I believe that what we have shown so far is something that we're going to be very proud of for many, many years and hopefully be transformational, not just in terms of physical structure, but in terms of uplifting and creating community, creating opportunities for members of the community, and drawing additional business traffic into the corridor. Most recently, this week, I had a conference call with the top 5 leadership of Peachtree Hospitality Group out of Atlanta, the new owners of the Hilton Garden Inn Hotel, as we start to prepare our strategies for trying to work together to combine resources and look at how we can activate the corridor for room nights, as well as foot traffic and cross-business relationships with our fitness center operator, Will Shields. I had the pleasure to meet everyone with Unified Government over the past couple of years, and we're looking to support some of the local churches, First Baptist Church nearby, Liberty Bank, who we've started a business relationship with already, and try to do the things that development needs to see happen, far more than just creating buildings. We're going to create an opportunity for people to connect with this location and create a opportunity that I think people will be very proud of in the near future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. That concludes our presentation for this evening, and we would recommend that we move forward to the public hearing.
Thank you. I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone present who would like to speak in favor of the item?
I see no one stepping forward, Mayor.
Thank you. Is there anyone participating by phone who would like to speak in favor?
No one is participating by phone.
Thank you. And have we received notification from those in support?
Yes, we have, Mr. Mayor. As a member of the First Baptist Church, 5th in Nebraska, we're in support of this redevelopment project for the downtown Kansas City, Kansas. Mr. Lanier is bringing jobs, economic recovery, and enhancing our community with the state-of-the-art complex. We would like that you vote for yes for this project. Furthermore, it is my belief that the completion of this project would likely ensure and enhance the success of other projects underway for the northeast area of Kansas City, Kansas. For example, the Lost projects on Washington Boulevard. The Lanier project's success would enhance the desirability of our downtown area, bringing people, foot traffic, and a sense of pride back to this area. These things are likely would be a stimulus to a local business as well. That is from Dr. Reginald Hall, also from Cedric Rowan, Lethea A. Ingram, Ann Rice, Louise Moore Williams, and Lori Stubbs. We also received a letter of support from Wyandotte Economic Development Council. My name is Greg Kendall, President of Wyandotte Economic Development Council and a resident of Kansas City, Kansas. Mayor, Commissioners, and UGA team, please accept this letter in support of the resolution approving the development agreement and the ordinance establishing redevelopment district. We believe this approximately $30 million redevelopment will further enhance the downtown district, provide new updated amenities to the area, and continue to show investment in the downtown area. We commend Mr. William Lemire and his team for their vision at this location, believe it will help spark continued interest in the area, building upon the recent investments made by the University of Kansas Health Systems and the UG Merck Co-op. We look forward to continuing to work with this developer and the Unified Government team on this project. Thank you. And again, from Greg Kendall. Those are the letters of support.
Were there any opposition?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. If there are no further comments from the public, I will close the public hearing. And Mr. Lanier, I just want to say thank you for taking great interest in our downtown. As you are aware, multiple conversations that we have had and you have had with our team, we have been looking for those who really understand the opportunities we have in our downtown with our proximity, our accessibility, and what you are proposing to us is a definite improvement to that corner. And obviously, you wanted to be one of the first investors in an area that has tremendous potential, and we appreciate the fact that you recognize that and moving forward with this project. And I want to commend Catherine Carter for her work in developing this deal and for the intense scrutiny that this has received from our Economic Development and Finance Standing Committee and for all those involved. In my opinion, this is a great project. It is really one of those catalytic projects, and catalytic projects require a special kind of stretch, and I think this is a special kind of stretch. Do any members of the commission have any questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor, this is Commissioner McKiernan.
Yes, sir.
I just want to take a moment and echo your thoughts as well as those of Greg Kindle from Wyandotte Economic Development Council, and thank Mr. Lanier and his team for their passion and their vision for this downtown development. Mr. Lanier, I had a lot of questions for you when we met in Economic Development and Finance Standing Committee, and I told you at that time that I do believe your project has the capability of being catalytic in our downtown and spurring more development than we can possibly imagine right now. And so for that reason, I am very happy to support this project. And then for Catherine, I just want to say that because my phone was muted, you didn't hear the sharp gasp when you said it was a 100-year abatement. But outside of that, anyway, I just want to echo
Commissioner McKiernan, we heard it anyway.
No, that's very true. So anyway, that's all I want to say. I fully endorse this project.
Mayor, this is Commissioner Burke.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lanier, I just want to say thank you for investing in Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas. We welcome you and wish you much success. The outpouring of support that is reflective of the support for the project that we've witnessed this evening. We stand ready to have a community partner and wish you much success as we move forward. And I want to thank my committee for the thorough review of this project and for their comments, questions, and support.
Mr. Mayor, this is Commissioner Gail Townsend.
Yes, Commissioner.
Hello?
Yes, Commissioner.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I didn't hear you. To Ms. Carter and Mr. Lanier, I want to thank you both and your teams for not forgetting about the request to add the exclusion of dollar stores. As I said during the economic development meeting when this project was presented, looking at the list of exclusions, there were a lot of them on there, including strip joints. So I'm glad we can add dollar stores to that. And just echo the sentiments already expressed and wish you, Mr. Lanier, much success with this project. And thank you for looking at Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas to bring it here. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, this is Commissioner Ramirez.
Yes, sir.
Just to echo previous from my from my colleagues, thank you, Mr. Lanier and Ms. Carter, for all the hard work putting into this project. It's going to be an amazing project that's going to do very well for our community. But I also want to say a special thank you to Commissioner Kane for bringing up prevailing wage. So if we are able to get this federal loan, that's going to make this project even more special. We have a lot of hardworking employees in our county, and it's going to make it so much better. So thank you for Commissioner Kane for bringing that up, and I'm very excited for this project.
All right, I think we're ready to move on. I'll note that this item requires 2 separate votes. And first, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the resolution approving the development agreement. Do we have a motion?
So moved, Mayor. Commissioner Burrows.
Second, Commissioner Ramirez.
We have a motion and a second by Commissioner Ramirez. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Roll call. Kane.
Aye.
Markley.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Philbrook.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Townsend.
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Ramirez. Johnson.
Aye.
Vote is 10-0. That motion carries.
Thank you. Next, I'll entertain a motion to approve the ordinance establishing the redevelopment district.
So moved, Mayor. Commissioner Burrows.
Second, Johnson.
We have a motion from Commissioner Burrows and a second from Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Roll call. Kane.
Aye.
Markley.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Philbrook.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Burrows. Commissioner Burrows. Townsend.
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Ramirez.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
The vote is 10-0. That motion carries.
Thank you all very much. That takes us now to the administrator's agenda. The first item is renewal of the voter-approved retailer's sales tax for Kansas City, Kansas. I'll turn this over to Administrator Bach.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight's item before you is the formal action enacting what the voters approved on August 7th, 2018, when we went before regarding a special election for public safety and neighborhood infrastructure, a previously approved 3/8 cent sales tax. This was approved by the residents of our community. It is brought before you this evening as a formal action to go ahead and adopt this as we continue this for the next 10 years.
Thank you. Are any questions or comments from the commission? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Commissioner Markley moves to approve.
Commissioner Bynum, second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Who was the motion by, Mr. Mayor?
Commissioner Markley.
And the second was by Bynum?
Yes.
Roll call. Kane.
Aye.
Markley.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Philbrook.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Townsend.
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Ramirez.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
The vote is 10-0. That motion carries.
Thank you. And item number 2 is Unified Government's Small Business Grant. Mr. Bach.
Thank you, Mayor, Commission. The item being brought before you this evening is a first attempt at trying to work with the small business in our community to move very quickly to adjust one of our previously approved grant programs to provide some opportunities for small businesses. And with that, I will recognize Catherine Carter, our Director of Economic Development, to present the item.
Good evening. I'm here on behalf of the Economic Development Department and specifically Shea Lockett, our small business liaison, who's been working strenuously over trying to figure out different ways to help our small businesses here in KCK and Wyandotte County these last few weeks. As many of you know, we have a small business grant. This is $50,000 that we have annually, and it's something that small businesses typically use for equipment, trying to do a renovation, some kind of one-time large expenditure. What we have talked about doing now and what I'm presenting to you today are some changes in light of what is going on now with COVID-19 and what that has done in terms of really hitting small businesses hard in the area of capital and being able to pay employees and having enough supplies to get through the day. So one of the things that, there are a few things that we're going to recommend. One is loosening the eligibility standards for what the eligible expenses could be used for. So instead of having it really focus on those kind of one-time big expenditures, we're really looking to loosen that definition a bit to add access to capital, workforce capacity, any kind of expenses having to do with inventory or supply shortfalls, facility remediation and cleanup costs, as well as marketing. Additionally, we have a few other recommended changes. One is that we had actually gone towards having a couple different deadlines throughout the year to kind of have applications come in tranches. We are removing all deadlines for the year of 2020. We will now have all applications be accepted on an ongoing rolling basis. Additionally, we're waiving the need for matching funds for this year. We feel that it is important that that businesses have the funds. They have something that they are needing to do immediately and allowing that to happen quite quickly. We are reducing the maximum amount that a business can apply for to $5,000. Again, this really is to increase the number of businesses we can assist and making sure that we can increase the speed of reimbursement so that we can really start helping small businesses as quickly as possible. And the final thing is, while kind of all the documentation needed for the application will remain in place, we are going to be no longer requiring financial projections. We recognize that that is something that are very difficult to come up with right now in this unsure climate. So those are the changes that we would recommend for 2020. We would keep the actual policy in place so that come 2021, when hopefully everything is back to normal, that we would go back to the policy as it was previously approved. But in this case, we'd like to really push people to go to the website, not only www.wicokck.org/economic. You can find it on the small business page there, but also the site that the county is putting a lot of the COVID information. It will also be located there. If you have additional questions, going to emailing Shea Lockett at smallbusiness@wicokck.org or 913-573-5439. We'll start accepting, assuming pending approval, we'll start accepting applications tomorrow.
And Mayor and Commission, I will just add, as Ms. Carter has put it out there, the item is presented is no impact to our current budget as this is currently in place. It's the ability for us to move very quickly, as you just said, and be available first thing tomorrow morning. It is also our belief, if we are successful with this, we thought it would be good to get a program out there in place for businesses to start going for. And if we find this is the right tool that works for them, then we could come back to you at a later date if there was a decision to or desire to add additional funding to it. With that, we'll stand for questions.
Are there any questions or comments from the commission?
Mayor, this is Commissioner Burrows. As we all know, the Governor Kelly has put $5 million into the local economy across the state in reference to small business loans. I want to commend our staff and administration for looking at this. These are very trying and challenging times for small business, and I will be voting in support of this resolution.
Okay, Are there any other questions or comments? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve. This is Commissioner McKiernan.
Second, Commissioner Burrows.
Did you capture that, Madam Clerk?
I did not.
Commissioner Burrows, second.
Commissioner Burrows seconded. Commissioner McKiernan brought the motion.
Roll call, Kane.
Aye.
Markley.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Philbrook.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Townsend.
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Ramirez.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
The vote is 10-0. That motion carries.
Thank you. That concludes the portion of our regular commission meeting. I adjourn us in that capacity and now call us back to order as the Wyandotte County Board of Health. Our last order of business is the appointment of one or more deputy local health officers in response to COVID-19. Mr. Bach?
Thank you, Mayor. This item was referenced earlier when we had our update on COVID-19. This authorizes me to move forward with the appointment of at least one deputy health officer to assist Dr. Greiner. As we found during these times, he's quite busy, and in fact, there is help that the KU Med has provided him in working with it with Dr. Kovor, who was here earlier. At this point, she's just been working as part of the Med Center. This would allow me to authorize someone to give them official authority should we need them to go out, take action, or do other types of orders in relation to this, or in the event that Dr. Greiner might not be available for a day or two. We need to have someone that is available to us every day, particularly during a time like this, during the pandemic that we're going through. So with this, I would request for this approval so I can move forward with appointing someone into this position.
Commissioner Markley, move to approve.
Commissioner Philbrook, second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Roll call, Kane.
Aye.
Markley.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Philbrook.
Aye.
Bynum. Commissioner Bynum. Burrows.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Townsend.
Aye.
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Ramirez.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
The vote is 10-0. That motion carries.
Thank you. That concludes our meeting for the evening. I want to thank all of you for your attendance, for all that you're doing out in the community. I want to thank also our community I'm so proud of the way our community is responding to this crisis and really working to try and stop the spread of this virus so that we can all get back to normal. And thank all of you in the community for all that you're doing. We are adjourned.